Hello and welcome back to the Watford Way. We've got your Sunday news show for you today, and it's going to be covering all the Watford news that's been happening throughout the international break, and obviously some topical discussions as well, with some of your questions from the live chat. But I'm not my own today. As always, I am joined by a guest, a very, very, very special guest, Finn.
Hello.
How are you doing, mate? Are you having a nice day?
As nice as I can without going out anywhere or doing anything at all ever. But yes, thank you.
Good to hear. Good to hear. So, I think we should dive straight into it, Finn. And the main topic of the show, as I'm sure you can all see by the title, is Ismaila Sarr was close to a move to Manchester United. Now, I don't know if you've all listened to the podcast, but Fabrizio Romano, obviously, I'm sure you all know who he is. He runs like a transfer podcast called the Here We Go podcast. And the podcast essentially discuss, all the transfers that have happened in the past, transfers that were close to happening but didn't happen. And they actually had Filippo Giraldi on, obviously the former Watford technical director, and they had him on. It's about a half an hour discussion. They discussed, Richarlison, João Pedro, but they also discussed Ismaila Sarr. And the quote that come from the podcast, and it's been reported in some media outlets, was the fact that he was close to moving to Manchester United, and it's something that Watford were actively discussing with Manchester United. So obviously, last summer it did look likely that Sarr might leave. What are your thoughts on that, Finn, that he was close to leaving? Would that have been the right thing for the club to have done at the time? Or do you think, looking back now, the season that Sarr's had, obviously was second in the table at the moment, do you think it was the right thing to do, keeping him at the club?
I think it's surprising that we've kept him at the club. I think the amount of clubs that were circling in the summer, there was Manchester United, there was Liverpool, which he was someone, I can't remember who said it, but he was very close to joining them as well. There was West Ham, there was Crystal Palace, who had like a couple of offers that sort of Watford sort of laughed off. I think it's surprising that we've kept him, and I think if we reinvest the money well in a quality centre mid and a quality striker, and obviously probably a replacement for Sarr, I think it probably would have been good to sell him. But either way, I'm not too fussed as long as we make sure to reinvest the money well, else it's completely pointless selling him.
It is, and what I find quite fascinating about the whole Sarr situation, Finn, is that we brought him for quite a lot of money anyway, and I think the reason he didn't leave was because Watford, I think the demand was about £50 million. Is that about the right price, you think, for Ismaila Sarr? Obviously, when we sold Richarlison, very similar situations in the sense that it's a young player, plays in the wing. We got about £40 million for Richarlison, and obviously Watford want to get a profit from the sale. So do you think, us asking for around £50 million, was that kind of the right fee to ask? And did that in the end, it looked like that high fee actually stopped Manchester United from buying him in the end?
I thought it was more around 40 million, wasn't it?
That we wanted, or that we brought him?
Yeah, that we wanted.
Yeah, I think it was in that. I think it's probably in that region, 40 to 50 million. Yeah.
We brought him for, it was like 27, wasn't it?
Yeah, 27 million we brought him for.
And as long as we get sort of nearly £10 million profit, I'd say 37 is probably the lowest I'd sell him for, because that's probably the amount of money the minimum amount of money that we need to probably improve the squad if he leaves. But a lot of people are heavily against Sarr leaving because of how good he is. I think we proved against Birmingham City that we're a class outfit without him anyway. So I don't think it'll be as catastrophic as people are saying if he was to leave, but only if we reinvest well. Because we've got some quality players, but we just need that something. You look at teams like Norwich and Bournemouth. They've got their Emi Buendia, they've got Danjuma, they've got Ivan Toney. They've all got that one star player. And I think Watford's is Sarr, and if we let him go, what then? Like, who do we build around?
I think Zinkernagel, Finn, could possibly fit that quota in the future of being our star player.
Yeah, he probably could, but we need to properly see that Zinkernagel that came into Watford, if you know what I mean. That Zinkernagel that was the 5th most creative player in Europe last season. That Zinkernagel that finds the passes that no one else. And I think we've seen sparks of that. But again, there was that assist against, was it Rotherham, or Wickham for
Yeah,
Andre
was that
Gray.
the one for Sirielta? Oh no,
Oh,
it's the great. Was that the one at home where we slid it through the defender
yeah.
and Gray slotted it away? Yeah.
Like, I don't think there was another player on the pitch that saw that pass. I didn't see that pass. I think if we need to see more of that, if he's going to be classed as Watford's star player, you know.
I just think for someone like Philip Zinkernagel, I think that the profile of player. I mean, he's not. Is a bit of an all-rounder. He's not the quickest, he's not the strongest, but he's got a bit of everything, and he can play. He's obviously not a striker, but he can play on the right, on the left, or as a number 10. And similar to Deulofeu, he's quite a technical player. And yeah, I mean, hopefully Philip Zinkernagel and Sarr will be here next season. But obviously, whether we get promoted or not, that will determine what happens with the squad. Just looking at a few of your comments here, Finn, apparently you've hid your Lego head very well today. No one can find it today. Little sneak peek there, maybe. Ajax saying if we don't go up with players like Sarr, João Pedro, Chalobah, we deserve to be laughed at. Finn, would you agree with Ajax there?
Yeah, to be honest, the start we had is ridiculous. It's laughable. We've got the amount of Premier League quality players that we have in our squad. We've got Sarr, João Pedro, Zinkernagel, Hughes. We had Capu. We have Chalobah. We've got Peralta, Trista Kong, Femenia, Ben Foster. Like, the majority of our players really shouldn't have been relegated last season. And if we don't bounce back, yeah, I agree. We do deserve to be laughed at.
I think so. I mean, you look at the quality of players that other Championship teams have. I mean, you mentioned Brentford, they've got Ivan Toney, who's their focal point of their team. But I think in general, throughout the whole squad, the strength and depth we've got, Finn, I think, even with Norwich, I think that we probably better them just about. So yeah, I mean, we should be going up, with this squad. But Finn, we'll discuss the running quickly. 8 games left this season. How do you see this panning out now, mate? Because it's getting tough now. I mean, we come back to, we've got Sheffield Wednesday first, then Middlesbrough, and then after that, really, really tough. I mean, in them games left, we've got Reading, Brentford, Swansea. We've got Norwich still to play, haven't we? I mean, that is extremely tough, Finn. I mean, how do you see this panning out? Because these are big games, crunch games now, squeaky bum time, as people like to call it. Are we going to get the job done, or are we going to crumble at the last minute?
I can't say. I can't possibly say. It's so close because every single game depends on what Watford turns up. Because it could be the Watford that played against Coventry, or it could be the Watford that played against Bristol. It's so hard to say. But at the moment, it is in our own hands, and I think that's the most important thing. And you look at games in hand as a bad thing for the opposition, but they've got to play more games than us in the same amount of time.
Plus,
So
we have to play them as well, so it is in
yeah,
our hands.
it is in our hands. We've got to play. We've got to play Brentford still. We have, haven't we?
Got to play Brentford, Reading, Norwich, Swansea on the last day as well, Finn. I mean, that could be a huge game.
We've got to play the other 3 of the top 4 in the last 8, and I think it's definitely in our own hands. I'm not going to say whether we can get the job done or not because I can't tell you. I did do a championship calculator. It was pretty dreadful, and it ended up with us coming 4th. So, I mean, good old negative me.
Good old negative, Finn. Well, it is that time of the season now where it gets decided. I mean, the championship gets decided. I know 3 points is 3 points, and we've been fighting for 3 points every game. But at this stage of the season, getting 3 points feels a lot greater than it did at the start of the season. So yeah, very, very exciting stuff. Finn, we're going to talk about some international players now. Obviously, a lot of Watford players went out on international duty. Some stayed at the club, obviously, if they didn't get selected, or for example, with Sarr, he had a slight knock, so he didn't go on Senegal duty. But there's 3 players in particular, Finn, I just want to quickly focus on, and that is Andre Gray, William Troost-Ekong, and Adam Messina. Andre Gray, first of all, I know he has a lot of critics, Finn, and I don't know if you've actually seen his assist for Jamaica or not, but it was a fantastic assist for Jamal Lowe. He kind of it's like a little bit of a through ball, similar to actually that Zinkernagel assist you mentioned a few minutes ago. It's a really, really nice assist actually, and I'm really pleased for Andre Gray to finally get called up to Jamaica. Obviously, he's been trying to change. I don't know what the word is. Is it citizenship? Is that the right word? He's been trying to change that to get that registered to, obviously, I think it was his nan and granddad are from Jamaica, so he was obviously trying to represent them at international level. He's finally done that. He got called up alongside Adrian Mariappa as well. How great is it, Finn, first of all, to see Andre Gray doing well on international duty? And it's against the USA as well. I mean, it's not a bad team, the USA.
Yeah, I think I have seen the assist, and it's a really good pass. Watching it, like you as a fan, and you watch it, you usually see passes that players probably wouldn't. I didn't see that pass. It's another one. It is like Zinkernagel's one. It went through like 3 players, didn't it? It was a really good pass, and I think he didn't play badly overall. He had a couple of like bad touches near the start, but I think that was
well, I think we know
definitely.
that Andre Gray, usually has bad touches, right? Even in a Watford shirt.
Yeah, a couple went out of play, but it is. I'll put that down to nerves, and I'll let him get away with that because it was his debut, and he did play well. He made some good runs, found some good passes, obviously, and it's good to see him doing well because you never know. That will do his confidence a world of good. He's just scored against Blues. He's scored 2 against Wycombe. Got an assist on his debut for Jamaica. He's doing well right now.
I mean, this is what we wanted, Finn, isn't it, from Andre Gray? This is what we wanted all season.
Yeah, it's nothing but a positive for Watford and for Andre Gray himself, and it's great to see.
Another player, Finn, I want to talk about today is William Schuster-Kong. Obviously, he's captain of Nigeria. I mean, what a guy! I mean, captain of Nigeria. Not often, not many players get to say that. So first of all, credit to him for being captain. But they did also qualify for the African Cup of Nations. Again, similar to Andre Gray, William Schuster-Kong, in recent matches, against Cardiff, he looks quite shaky. He come under a bit of criticism, Finn. Again, how good is it to see him performing, really, really well for his country?
Again, same thing with Andre Gray. It's nothing but a positive. He can't. That'll do him a world of good in the confidence department. And I am going to be honest. I thought he was from the Netherlands until about 2 weeks ago. I don't know why.
I think he's half Dutch, half.
Oh, is he?
But I think obviously he chose to represent Nigeria because he wasn't getting called up to the Dutch squad.
Yeah, I just didn't know that, and I think
Brendan could probably tell us more actually, because I know Brendan is from the Netherlands, so he might be able to give us a bit more insight on that.
Yeah, again, nothing but positive for Watford. All these all the international players doing well. It can do nothing but good for the confidence, and confidence wins games. There's a lot of stuff that wins games, but confidence is right up there with one of the most important things.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, only a positive to see our players doing so well in international duty. A few other mentions. Ben Wilmot got called up to England under 21, so good to see him there. And Adam Messina for Morocco, he got a man of the match performance. I think that was his first appearance for Morocco, and he got man of the match. And again, I mean, we keep repeating ourselves here, but it's great to see our players going away on international duty. They're doing well at club level, and now they're going away on international duty and doing well at that level as well. So it's really, really positive to see. Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. And I want to take a few questions from the live chat now. Talking about the running, guys, how are you feeling about the running? Are you nervous, or are you like me and Finn? You think we can do it, but it's going to be quite hard to get there. I personally think, if we beat Sheffield Wednesday, beat Middlesbrough, then we can see where we are on the table. And Finn, we just got to keep winning our games, right? And actually, mathematically, if we win the rest of our games, we go up. And I know it sounds really, really simple, and it sounds really, really basic, but that's the truth.
I think winning the rest of our games is probably very unrealistic because we've won our last 5. You look at Middlesbrough and Sheffield Wednesday. If we beat them, that's 7, and then you've got 6 more, and then that's 13. And I don't even remember the last time we went 5 unbeaten, let alone 13. So again, like you say, it's simple. It sounds so simple, but as soon as you step out onto that pitch, you forget the table. You just need to look at what's in front of you, look at their weaknesses, and exploit them. I think that's exploiting weaknesses is probably what Watford have struggled with this season. I think against low blocks, we've struggled
especially against Vladimir Ivic. Actually, Finn, I think we really struggled under him.
Yeah, because Ivic wanted to play he wanted to do the lower block. That was how he wanted to play. When he faced it, it was like, what do I do now? Like we were one dimensional. And
He didn't adapt. He didn't adapt tactically, did
yeah,
he? Compared to Xisco, who made that switch to the 4-3-3 formation, and we've seen the benefits that's had now.
yeah, that's probably what Ivic lacked in his managerial experience. And I think that's probably what the Watford board lacked. Like the we definitely appointed the wrong manager at the start of the season. Let's be honest. And to be honest, we probably had doubt. Like I doubted Xisco when he first came in. I
I
think
think we all did, and I think I'm capable of it, Finn, as well. I mean, I literally made a half-an-hour YouTube video discussing why he shouldn't be the Watford manager, and after that, we won 6-0 against Bristol City, and apart from losing against Bournemouth, I can't really remember any other negatives since I made that video. So he has really turned it around.
yeah, maybe if we just say Xisco's crap every single week, he'll win the next game. So, right, James, you have to, before the Norwich, Swansea, and Brentford games, you have to say Xisco isn't a good manager.
I would, but I think I get hounded for it on social media, so I'm not going to.
That's true.
But I completely understand where you're coming from, Finn. So we've got a few questions now we can go through, Finn. Rudy saying Kane Critchlow also scored for Bermuda. That was great to see. Kane Critchlow, obviously just a youth player, but being called up for your national team is still fantastic. AJX saying the international break will ruin us. Hopefully not, but I don't see how our momentum doesn't get destroyed. It's a very good point. Ollie saying, what games do you see us dropping points? Now, Finn, I mean, I'll ask this to you because I think it's quite a simple answer, and we listed the teams we've got left to play earlier. Norwich, that is a game we can drop points in. Brentford, another game. Reading and Swansea. A lot of games there, Finn, that we could potentially drop points in. I personally think we can beat Reading, and I think we can beat Brentford, but I think Norwich and Swansea for me, Finn, are the hardest out of them.
I think you're forgetting Luton as well. I know they're crap, but it's a big game. Anything can happen in derbies, and we all know that. We're looking at league table, and we need to look at the sort of teams that Watford struggle against. And I think it's hard because I want to say that we've struggled against lower half teams, but recently we've been putting them away, like brushing them aside like no one's business. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean, right? Because I don't know how to say it, to be honest.
I know what you mean, Finn, and I was actually talking to my auntie earlier, who's also a Watford fan, and she was saying that she spoke to a Luton fan, and obviously Luton are mid-table at the moment. They're not really playing for promotion. They're not battling against relegation, and all they're looking forward to this season now is that Watford game. So in terms of their fan base, they want to win that Watford game, right? So for them, it's a huge game. But from our perspective, Finn, it's just another game. At least for me, it's just another game to get 3 points from, and whether it's a derby or not, we should be beating Luton.
Yeah, definitely. I think if we don't beat Luton, I think most of our hope's gone. To be honest, because unless either Swansea and Brentford both drop points in the run-in, I think if we have to beat Luton if we want to turn that. If you want to turn that Watford versus Swansea game into essentially a playoff final, we have to beat
God,
Luton.
I hope not. I hope we've got it wrapped up before then, Finn.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it's Watford. When is oh God, I can't talk. When is anything ever comfortable when you're a Watford fan?
I know. I just hope it doesn't come down to that last game. I think it'll be a shame if we're all sitting by our TVs just watching this game, Watford versus Swansea. Swansea might only need a point to go above us. We might need to win the game. You just never know what the scenarios are going to be. Back to the earlier question, Finn, about Schusterkong. He was actually born in the Netherlands, so that's quite interesting. And apparently his mother was half Dutch. I think I saw Brendan put in chat earlier. So yeah, it's very interesting, and obviously he's representing Nigeria now, so good on him. Caroline saying all the top teams will drop points. As they have done already. We've seen Swansea drop points against Cardiff last week, but it'll depend on who you drop them to. And yeah, again, very good point. And as we just discussed, we do play all of them top teams. Swansea, Brentford, Norwich. We play all of them. So if we can take points off them and gain that advantage, it'll be absolutely fantastic. Brendan saying Troost-Ekong can't play for Dutch because obviously he's got Virgil van Dijk ahead of him, De Ligt, De Vrij in there. I mean, those are fantastic centre backs, aren't they, Brendan? And yeah, it's not a surprise that he's playing for Nigeria at the moment. Finn says every time every time he says we'll lose, we win. So Finn say we'll lose.
Yeah, I'm gonna say we'll lose against Sheffield Wednesday anyway.
Well, be a bit more positive than that, Finn, please. Thank you.
No, I was joking.
Finn telling James to give bad predictions. Yeah, Finn, what are you doing?
I'm trying to double.
Trying to ruin my reputation.
No, I'm sorry.
Brendan saying we will win the league. Now, do you want to talk about this quickly, Finn? Because obviously, mathematically, right, it is still possible we could win the league. But do you actually think it's going to happen?
It's mathematically possible that Luton can go up. Are they going to go up? No.
No.
No, they're not. I don't think we'll win the league. I think they're 8 points clear. They've got a not easy, but they've got a relatively comfortable run in compared to ours, which is probably one of the toughest you could have asked for. Talking about our running, actually.
Toughest.
I was going to ask you a question. Would you rather lose against Sheffield Wednesday, Middlesbrough, and Luton, but win the rest, or just?
I would, and that's because. I mean, that's just because of how the table works, right? If you are going to lose to the lower table teams, them gaining 3 points, Finn, wouldn't affect the teams around you. But if you're taking points off the teams around you and then gaining that advantage on them, then I'd do that every day of the week. But obviously, that's a theoretical situation, which probably won't happen. But that's a really, really good question, and let me know your answer to that in the comments below as well. Brendan saying Swansea and Brentford will crash in their next games. Well, hopefully they do. I mean, that'll be good to see. Ollie saying Swansea are off form and Brentford are cursed. I didn't know Brentford were cursed. So odds are good. Apparently they're cursed, Finn.
I mean, bottlers, maybe. I shouldn't have said that. They're going to go up now. Last season.
I think Brentford should be in the Premier League already. I don't know how they've not managed to get promoted.
West Brom, that's why.
Yeah, that is very, very true. Caroline saying, I'm glad our last game is at home. I'm very glad as well, Caroline. I think that, in fact, I think fans may be allowed back in for that game. I'm not too sure yet, but I was reading some stuff on Twitter about the government and the EFL letting fans back into the ground, for at least some fans anyway, for that home game. So that might be good to see. And we're at the bottom of the comments now. So thank you very much for your comments. Really do appreciate it. Finn, is there anything else you want to talk about? Because obviously, it is the international break at the moment. I think we play. Is it next Friday that we play against Sheffield Wednesday with a Friday night game? Tom Cleverley's back from injury. Finn, Ismaila Sarr hopefully should be back. How do you think we're going to set up in that game? And with Tom Cleverley coming back, you'd think he's a starter, right? So who in that midfield three out of Hughes, Chalobah, and Zinkernagel, who leaves for you? Because Tom Cleverley should be coming back into that team.
Oh, it's such a good dilemma to have. I wouldn't have it any other way. I think, as much as I love Clevs, he's just come back from what could have been an incredibly bad injury. And honestly, I think if it was an ACL, it probably would have ended his career. He's 31 and he's knocking on a bit. An ACL probably would have ended his career. So I think we're lucky that he's still a football player, to be honest. I don't think it's worth chucking him back in when you've got players like Chalobah, Hughes, Zinkernagel that are all performing really well at the moment. So as much as everyone knows how much I love Cleverley, but I don't think it's worth sticking him back in for the Sheffield Wednesday game.
Do you have a Cleverley shrine in your room, Finn, that you're hiding from us? Like behind your bed, have you got a secret Cleverley shrine?
No, I haven't actually. I haven't actually got that much Watford stuff in my bedroom. I was thinking about it. I've got a Watford calendar. I've got a lot of Watford.
I've got a Watford calendar. In fact, shall I check who's on it at the moment? I'm trying to see from my chair. I think it's Ben Foster, but I can't quite see.
Troy Deeney. Oh, there we go.
I'll tell you what, that's a mini calendar. I've got a big calendar.
Oh. Right,
yeah. So maybe Finn, I think you should create a Cleverly shrine for us. I think that'll be good.
Have you just seen Ollie's comment?
What's the body said?
Bring Ivic back.
Whoa, Ollie, calm down. Calm
Are you
down.
okay?
Finn, this is a funny comment from Ajeg.
Finn's top relates. Oh my no. No.
It is mathematically possible, Finn. Keep the faith, keep the positivity.
But it's mathematically possible to count to 1 million, but you're not going to do it, are you?
Can I just say, it's also mathematically impossible that we can get relegated. Is that the right wording? We can't get relegated, put it that way. So that is the positive. We can't get relegated from the Championship. Come on.
Yes.
Come
Safety.
on.
It's what I've been hoping for all season. Can't do another Sunderland.
I tell you what, I mean, what frustrates me about this season, and this has turned into a bit of a rant video now, but we'll just roll with it, Finn. You know, when we switched the 4-3-3 formation and Xisco made that decision to do that, if we had played the 4-3-3 from August, or was it September we started? It was September, wasn't it? If we'd played the 4-3-3 from when the season started, with Pedro, with Sarr, with Sema, you know, we should be top of the league now, right? Because think about the points we've dropped. I mean, we've dropped so many points. I mean, I remember us drawing to Millwall, wasn't it? We drew to Coventry. You know, I think, you know, there's so many games that we could go back and look at where we could have got 3 points rather than 1 point. And if we played the 4-3-3 from the start, Finn, I mean, we should be top of the league, right?
Yeah, I don't blame Xisco or Ivic, to be honest. I don't know who it is, but I have this theory that someone higher than Xisco was controlling how Xisco was playing, you know? I think that could be Deeney, that could be one of the owners, it could be anyone. I think when Xisco was brought in, I thought, oh, it's just another puppet for the owners to play how they were playing. I think when we drew against Coventry, I think something might have clicked. And like, all right, I'm not a manager. We should probably let the manager do what the manager wants to do. And I think that might have happened. I'm not saying it has. It's just my theory. So I think, yeah, if we had have changed to 4-3-3 earlier, and when we'd have had players like Capu, when we'd have had players like I don't know who else left in January.
I mean, I'll tell you what, Finn. I mean, you said Capu there. I mean, we had Capu with Etienne Capu at Watford for half a season in the Championship, and we did not utilise him, did we? I mean, we didn't utilise him how we should have utilised him. And I know there was stuff going on behind the scenes. You know, it was quite evident he wanted to move off to Valencia, or was it Villarreal? He ended up at. I think it was Villarreal. But we should have utilised him. I mean, imagine a midfield three of Capu, Hughes, Chalobah, or you know, put Cleverly in there, put someone else in there. It doesn't matter. I mean, we essentially, Finn, wasted half of the season playing crap football with Troy Deeney and Andre Gray up front, playing a 2-striker system that didn't actually score goals. I mean, if you think about how much time we wasted and the form we've been in since we got into this new formation, that fans have been calling for such a long time. I mean, what on Norwich? Only 10 points clear. I mean, we could have made that up on them.
I thought it was 8 points clear, and I think, yeah, look at the squad we came into this season with, and look at how well it would have fit into a 4-3-3. We'd have had backup like Glenn Murray, we'd have had backup like James Garner. Put it this way, at the moment, Chalobah is probably our best player. I'm not saying best quality, but in form at the moment. He would have been our backup. Like, that just, it's mental how we've gone from probably the best midfield in the league to playing a 19-year-old striker and a right winger in midfield against Wickham. It baffles me. But then, when has being a Watford fan ever been comfortable? Like I've already said.
Well, I just feel that I personally just feel that this season could have been much more simpler. That I think the club and Vladimir Ivic, when he was here, they overcomplicated it all. The recruitment was overcomplicated. I mean, our recruitment was terrible anyway. I mean, why we didn't bring in a backup left back in the summer, I don't know. I mean, that just hindered us more than it helped us. We obviously brought in Lazar, in February time. Zinchenko came in January. Everything was just done a little bit too slowly for me this season. And when we got to January, we appointed Zisco. It just seemed like something clicked in the players' heads, like, oh look, oh my God, we're actually playing in this season. We need to get promoted to the Premier League. Something just clicked that wasn't there under Vladimir Ivic, and it's a shame it's taken this long to finally see the potential in this Watford side. But I think we are finally seeing that potential. Bluebird Fan TV, and here's a Cardiff fan channel. Make sure to go check him out. He says, who would you bring in as a replacement for Sarr? We obviously discussed Sarr at the beginning of the show, Finn, and we said that Philip Zinchenko could be someone to step up and take his place. Apart from players at Watford, is there anyone else out there who plays on the wing who you'd like to see come in? Who obviously don't say Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi because they're not coming to Watford, but a player who's attainable, who you think would fit into this Watford team. Is there anyone out there that you like the look of?
I was thinking about this to myself the other day, and I had three that I'd be well happy with. I cannot remember a single one of them, and I don't know why. I'd like to see Christian Atsu. I think could be okay.
Christian Atsu, I mean, he's getting on a bit now, isn't he? He must be 20, 28, 29.
I'm not sure, but I think as a short-term replacement, Christian Atsu. Who else would be all right? Probably quite unrealistic, but Christian Mbuemo. Is his name Christian Mbuemo from Brentford? He's quite good. I can't think of them. Only name. Go on.
I've got a few players in mind, but whether they would come to Watford, I just don't know. There's a lot of players out there. I mean, Ajax saying Atsu's 29 and it's not worth it. I mean, I agree with Ajax personally. I mean, Finn, I'm not too sure why you thought Christian. I mean, he's got a lot of pace. I'll give him that. But
I thought it was
product's not there, Finn.
I thought it was a lot younger than that. I thought it was like 20, 23, 24. I don't know why.
Newcastle Christian Atsu. I'm not sure.
I think so. There was that Chelsea right mid that's never played. That's only played like 2 games for Chelsea. It's been on loan for 9 seasons. He's a right winger. His name starts with M, and I can't say it.
Mario Palisic.
It might have been.
Palisic.
I don't know, mate.
I'm not sure. There's a lot of players out there. There is a lot of players out there. And I think we should be discussing it because Ismaila Sarr is going to leave. Like, whether it's the end of this season or whether he stays for another season in the Premier League, we'll have to wait and see. But it's very, very interesting. Ollie's saying Mario Jr. I mean, I don't even know if that's a real guy. Bluebird saying Reece Nelson on loan. I mean, I do like Reece Nelson. Harry Wilson at Cardiff, I quite like as well. I mean, very different player to Sarr. I mean, Ismaila Sarr. I mean, you've seen in Ben Foster's videos. He says he's the quickest player he's ever seen, and it's so good to have someone like him at Watford. But yeah, very, very interesting, and we'll have to wait and see if that does actually happen. Ajax saying Leon Bailey from Leverkusen. I think he'll be very, very expensive, and I don't think that would happen. But I would like to see that happen, Ajax. That is a good shout. Mario Jr. is a real guy. He plays for PSV, apparently. Brenda's saying he plays for PSV. Ethan's saying Harvey Elliott. I mean, what's Harvey Elliott, Finn? 17 years old from Liverpool. I mean, my frustration with Watford is, and diversion from Sarr now, we're doing it at the moment, and I can understand it in a sense, but in terms of getting promoted back to the Premier League, it's probably not the way to go. We're doing everything on the cheap, and this squad we're building currently, for me, we're not building it for the future. I mean, I'm seeing rumours of Ashley Young coming back. I mean, I seem to be the only fan who doesn't want him back. I mean, who wants... What is he now? 35, 36? Who wants a 36-year-old Ashley Young back at Watford? When you've got Adam Messina there, you could bring in a young left back or a young left winger in. Finn, I mean, Ashraf Azar, 29 years old. Dan Gosling, 31 years old. Tom Cleverley is 32, isn't he? I mean, we've got old players who we need to shift on. I mean, is that an issue that we've got at Watford at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's probably more of an issue if we do go up. Sorry, if we go up, there's players like Ben Foster, players like Troy Deeney, Dan Gosling that need to go. We need to, and there is a risk of like we need to rebuild. Essentially, we need to get out with the old, in with the new, and there is a risk of doing what Fulham did, in the sense of you bring in 11 players and none of them know each other and none of them know how to play with each other or where each other are. And there is the risk of that, but I think it's a risk worth taking. You look at Troy Deeney and Ben Foster, they're Watford legends, but it's it's hard to say because we need a good balance of experience and youth, so we can sort of pass on the experience, if you know what I mean. I think it is important that we sort of we build for the future, and you look. We are to a certain extent. You look at the players like Saralta, João Pedro. Who else is young? Joseph Hungbo, people like that. And to a certain extent, we are doing it, but it's just that we're doing it at 50% at the moment and on the cheap, like you said.
We're
Um,
not doing it enough, Finn. You know,
yeah,
Troy Deeney, I'm sorry. If we want, I mean, personally for me, I can envisage what's gonna happen now. You know, I think Troy Deeney, I think they'll keep him for another year. I know there was rumours that he'd signed a year's extension.
oh,
So I think they'll keep him for another year. Ben Foster, I think will keep. You know, there's just players who, you know, Troy Deeney, Finn, he's not Premier League level. So why is he at the club? He's at the club to what? What lead what? What's he leading? Like he's a leader. He's a leader. So we're paying him what, 100 grand a week at the moment to be a leader when he's not doing anything and he's injury
Chalobah's
prone and
one
he's
of
not
them.
very good.
Chalobah and Cleverley have been better captains than him this season. 100%. I just it just doesn't make sense to it. People go, he's a target man. When was the last time you saw him win a header or score a header? When was the last time you saw him hold the ball up and make a
Well,
pass
the
that didn't
thing is,
skip
Finn, I
out?
mean, right. I really do not want to disrespect Troy Deeney, and that's not what I'm doing. I'm not disrespecting Troy Deeney. I'm just telling you, and it's clear to see, he's not Premier League level. We can't go up to the Premier League and have Troy Deeney leading our line again. Like if that happens next season, then for me that's a failure on the board and on Gino and on Scott Duxbury. That shouldn't be happening. If Zisco starts Troy Deeney next season, I firmly believe that is not a managerial decision and that's a hierarchy decision. Um, so yeah, look, Troy Deeney, if he agrees to take a huge pay cut and he sits on the bench and he can come on for the last 20 minutes and hold up the ball for us, I'd be more than happy for that for one more year. But if he's going to stay to start for Watford, I can't have that. He's been here for 10 years. I love the guy. I love it. I love the guy, but but we can't have him starting for Watford anymore.
I love the guy, but not the footballer. He seems like a really nice guy, but he's a crap footballer at the moment. I think that is probably down to injuries quite a bit. I think injuries probably have ruined his season this season. I think that's evident. But I don't
Yeah,
think he did much better without them.
it's just it's such a shame to see his decline, to see how drastic his decline's been. You know, we got promoted in that 15-16 season. He was absolutely fantastic. I think he scored, you know, I think he scored 12 or 13 Premier League goals, which is fantastic for a club of Watford's level. I know Igalo got about 15 goals that season as well. It's just for me, Dan Gosling is fantastic at Championship level. Troy Deeney is good at Championship level. I don't think they're Premier League level. And that's why they're in the Championship right now. If they were good enough footballers, they wouldn't be here. You know, as Fabrizio Romano said in the podcast, you know, Ismail Sarr should not be at Watford. And it's fantastic we've kept him this season. And Ismail Sarr's the exception because he is good enough to play Premier League football. But yeah, I mean, that's my rant over, I think. I just wanted to kind of state my thoughts on the situation. I know it's positive. I know we are going to get promoted, fingers crossed. But if we do get promoted, Finn, you know, we need to be keeping João Pedro. We need to be keeping Ken Sema. Ismail Sarr's got to stay. I'd look to bring in another 2 or 3 young players to add to that. and then you've still got Will Hughes, Tom Cleverley, Ben Foster if he stays. They are experienced players, and there's only so much experience you need. You know, it's exciting times. It's also nerve-wracking times for me because I can't trust. I personally have lost faith with the Watford board after last season. I've never really regained the trust in them. Even our recruitment this season has been very, very poor. But yeah, very, very exciting times. Finn, do you want to add anything to that?
I think you've summed it up brilliantly. For the next, I don't know how long the rest of the season stretched out over. The next 4 weeks, however long the games are, it's an exciting time to be a Watford fan. The summer following that is probably more than likely going to be a very, very frustrating time. I think you've summed it up perfectly.
I think it will be frustrating, especially, I mean, obviously, when you get promoted to the Premier League, you get a lot of cash. But but will we utilise that cash? Because we've been hit by COVID. Even Premier League clubs haven't been spending a lot of money. But I just think we've been, the club, we were calling for the defence to be strengthened for 5 years, and they end up strengthening the defence with Sirielta once we've been relegated, which I do find quite funny. They strengthened the defence we needed for so long, and they do it once we've been relegated. I think that sums up this club quite well. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed mine and Finn's rants today about the club. They did turn into kind of rants and our own opinions about the club. But I hope you enjoyed listening. Thank you very much for submitting your questions as well, and I hope you enjoyed some of our previous videos that I put out over the international break as well. There's a Ben Foster versus Daniel Batman video there, and I also did a Q&A as well where you guys submitted your questions on Instagram. Finn, obviously you run your own Instagram account. Where can everyone find you? The link's obviously in the description down below as well.
Watford FC Hub .pure on Instagram and Watford FC Hub on Twitter.
Fantastic. So make sure to go and follow Finn. Obviously, please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. That'd be very much appreciated. And yeah, enjoy your evenings. It's going to be nice and warm Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I believe. So enjoy the warm weather. And yeah, I'll see you later in the week with your match preview for Sheffield Wednesday. Is it at home, Finn? I'm pretty sure it's at home, isn't it?
It's at home, yeah. Is it this Friday? It is, isn't it?
Yeah. This Friday coming, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, come on. All right, leave a like, guys, in the video, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.